And I'm Jacqueline.
And our other team members are Lacey and King and Sarah Dale. They're running the presentation.
So anime is a very important form of Japanese media and entertainment with almost no limitations to what makes animation anime, only needing to have originated from Japan. The art form gives creators almost limitless opportunities to make profound, unique visual art. In anime from Akira to Howl's Moving Castle, Suzanne J. Napier reflects the anime is often a representation of popular culture in Japan. It is built off of Japanese cultural traditions, and in recent years, many have begun looking at anime in a more intellectual and complex light. The Full Metal Alchemist manga was created by Hiromu Arakawa between 2001 and 2010. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the 2009 remake of the 2003 anime. The story follows the Elric brothers, Edward and Alphonse Elric, in the quest to becoming powerful alchemists. Common themes in the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood are family, tragedy, and perseverance. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood features ethics-based dilemmas, war, and historical context. The opening, again by Yui, became very popular soon after its release. Hiromu Arakawa, born in the northernmost region of Japan on Hokkaido, in the district of Tokachi, to a farming family on May 8th, 1973, Hiromu grew up working in her family's business, a dairy facility, with her sisters, receiving her education through a local agricultural school, as did most people where they lived. Living in the same quiet lifestyle as her family, it was these humble beginnings that led her to daydream about a life beyond the hills. Using her limited manga collection as her escape from rural life and influencing her growing aspirations, she began investing her savings in drawing classes in a local town. And shortly after, Hiromu discovered there was more to life than her family's farm and made the decision to move to Tokyo to pursue her dream of becoming an artist, making the promise to not return home until she was successful, which came sooner than she had thought. After she moved, she began working on amateur doujins, self-published manga novels, and fan guides, which soon got her notice. Um, and Hiromu was offered a paid job drawing for Kama or comic shorts for the publication Gamist, while crediting her work to her alias Edmund Arakawa. From these successful illustrations, she was able to get a job working as an assistant to celebrated manga artist Ito Hiroyuki. By 1999, Hiromu had finally completed her first professional manga titled The Stray Dogs, published by Enix. The publication won numerous awards and landed a long-term Enix contract. Hiromu released an irregular series from 2000 to 2006 and followed that would become her biggest work yet, the world famous series Full Metal. Background: while creating the series, Hiromu had read multiple alchemy related books, finding the subject complicated due to contradictions, but she was drawn more to the philosophical aspects rather than the practical aspects, which she was wanted to include within her work as well as interrogating societal problems. She gathered her inspiration by watching the news, speaking with refugees, war veterans, and ex-Yakuza, which formed the basis of several plot elements of Full Metal Alchemist. In addition to outsider influence, she wanted to include some of her own familial concepts, such as the equivalent exchange concept inspired by the hard work of her family to earn money to feed their family. For stylistic aspects, she drew on elements from the European Industrial Revolution, such as cultural, architecture, and clothes, to create an immersive and complex fictional world. Throughout the series, Hiromu had in mind where the story would end, yet within the storyline, she allowed for change as her characters developed and matured. All these things that went into creating Full Metal Alchemist made it a well-rounded series and contributed to its long-running success. Since its debut in 2001, the series has sold over 64 million volumes worldwide, as well as been adapted into two animated films and two animated TV series in both Japan and English, Japanese and English.
Okay, summary of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So the series follows the story of Edward Elric, the Full Metal Alchemist, and his younger brother Alphonse Elric. They are both in search of the legendary Philosopher's Stone in order to get the original bodies back. While searching for the stone, they come across multiple villains that also want to get the Philosopher's Stone for various reasons. And the series takes place in the country of Amistris, which takes inspiration from Germany and other European countries, which is kind of obvious with that it takes inspiration from European countries because the leader of the country is the Führer, which is German. And the small studio Bones is responsible for Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, the remake, which is what this presentation is about. And the success of both of these shows would prove an inspiration for other upcoming works. So the Elric brothers, they're the main protagonists of the series. Edward and Alphonse lost their mother at an early age, and they began to learn alchemy in a attempt to bring her back to life. But they failed uh, horribly, and it cost Alphonse his body and Edward a arm and a leg. Edward Elric, he's a short man who is constantly arguing with people that make fun of his height due to being short. And despite having a short fuse, he is very kind to his brother and Winry Rockbell, his childhood friend. He joins the military to use their research on the Philosopher's Stone and try to learn more and how to obtain it. Alphonse Elric. So Al's soul was trapped in the suit of armor after losing his physical body in an attempt to revive his mom, as previously mentioned. This was done by Edward. He created a blood seal on the suit of armor, which was able to trap his soul into the armor so he doesn't completely die, but he did lose his body. He strives to be a pacifist and he avoids unnecessary conflict, and he also tries to calm Edward down whenever he gets irritated when someone calls him short or whenever he is mistaken because a lot of people assume Alphonse Elric is the Full Metal Alchemist due to him being made out of pure metal. Next is the state military. So the characters in the state military are the main support for Edward and Alphonse in their quest for the Philosopher's Stone. So first we have Roy Mustang, the dude up front with black hair, no glasses. He's known as a flame alchemist. He is Ed's superior officer in the military, and he strives to be the next leader of the country Amistris, where the series takes place. Next, we have Riza Hawkeye, another main figure in the series. She is Mustang's bodyguard, and she can be seen on his right side with the blonde hair. And yeah, her goal in the series is to help Roy Mustang achieve the title of leader, and she does anything in her power to help him in that regard. Another interesting figure in the series is Alexander Armstrong. He is known as the Strong Arm Alchemist. He is one of Mustang's allies, and he constantly aids Edward and Al. He is seen in the very back, bald guy with the fancy mustache, and he is one of my favorite characters. He is used for comedic relief sometimes, although he can be pretty cool in his own ways. The Homunculus. The Homunculus are the main antagonists of the series. They each represent one of the seven deadly sins. Gluttony. So Gluttony is a short, pudgy man, and he is able to devour anything he wants, which reinforces Gluttony. And he is the guy on the bottom left corner of the screen. You can kind of tell he's which one Gluttony is. Next up, we have Lust. So Lust is the woman in the black dress on the screen above Gluttony, and she is a seductive woman with very long claws. Next up, we have Envy, the guy that is crouching on the right side of Gluttony, and he is a slim teenager that is able to shapeshift into other people. He does so, and he causes a lot of chaos. Let's just leave it at that. Next up, we have Sloth. So Sloth is a huge muscular man that can be seen in the very back of the image. And he constantly complains about how much work he has to do, again, reinforcing his sin, sloth. Next up, we have Pride, a young boy who is always well dressed, and he always looks down on normal humans, again, reinforcing his sin, pride. And I'm not gonna go too much into him because that's a bit of spoiler territory. And then we have Greed. Again, he is again reinforcing the sin he represents. He's never satisfied with anything. He only wants more and more and more of whatever. And he has a grayish skin due to it being armored. He has armored skin. And I'm not going. He has a humanoid. He has a human form, but I'm not going to talk about that one too much because it's spoiler territory again. And then Wrath, that one's just a straight up spoiler. I'm not even gonna talk about that one. Alchemy. Alchemy is a series special power system. It is based on the ancient art of alchemy from medieval Europe that was practiced back in those days. And it follows the basic rule of equivalent exchange. One of Edward's most famous lines from the series, which he said in episode 1 or 2, somewhere along those lines. He said, "To obtain something of equivalent value must be lost. That is alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange." This can be seen like when he attempted to revive his mom alongside Al. They did not have something that was of equivalent value to a human soul, which is why they failed miserably and they ended up suffering the consequences. Each alchemist has their own specialized form of alchemy. An example of this is how Roy Mustang specializes in flame alchemy, which is why he is known as the Flame Alchemist. Same with Alexander Armstrong. He is known as the Strong Arm Alchemist. And his alchemy is basically, what would the word be? Enhancing his strength. So, Fullmetal Alchemist versus Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. In 2003, the first Fullmetal Alchemist anime was released. This was the first attempt at making a anime adaptation of the manga. When this series was first released, the manga was still being written. The 2003 version had to extend the first arcs due to the manga still being written, as the manga was only about 1 or 2 years old at the time. After the 30 episode mark, the 2003 Fullmetal Alchemist had to diverge from the manga and do its own thing as it was going a lot faster than the manga, as the manga was only being released about 12 every month, so 12 times a year, so they were only probably about 24 chapters in at the time when the anime was released. And it was going a lot faster than the source material. And everything after the 30 episode mark is not canon. It's its own story. So you could watch Full Metal Alchemist and then you could continue with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And Brotherhood ended up shortening the first 30 episodes into around 10 episodes. So if you wanted to watch both of them, you could start with Full Metal Alchemist as it like expands the setting in the first 30 episodes, and then you can finish the original Full Metal Alchemist. And then if you want the real story, the real ending, you could skip the first 10 episodes of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and start from episode 11. Personal insights. So I first watched Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood when I was in middle school and high school, maybe freshman year or something like that. It's been a while since I watched it. I was extremely invested in the show and how alchemy functioned in the series. It even made me look into alchemy and its history, and I went down the whole like alchemy rabbit hole, whatnot, and uh, yeah. I also like tried what almost any kid has tried. I tried to do like the Roy Mustang. He snaps and he creates basically a fireball. And as a kid, being a kid, I snapped hoping a fireball would show up, but nothing happened, and I was disappointed like always.
So I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood for this assignment, and I found that it was very unique when compared to other anime I have watched in the past. I thought alchemy was a very interesting skill, and the backstory of the Elric brothers was very haunting to me. Tragic. Um, so I'm excited to see what happens next.
Global perspective and themes. So one of the main themes, and it relates to global perspective, is ethics. So the anime goes through dilemmas of when it comes to complicated morals and ethics. The series goes through how ambition and sacrifice can alter choices that involve the watchers to relate to the ethics of the show. One of the main issues is how the Philosopher's Stone is obtained. I'm not going to go into spoilers for that. And yeah. Um, Translation. So the anime has had a lot of subtitle translations as well as multiple dubs, and it has helped with language barriers, which encourage more people to enjoy the series from diverse communities and countries and whatnot. Um, so the series has a constant anti-war theme around it. As the show progresses, it shows more how cruel war is and how destructive it is, how it doesn't care who you are, it'll take whatever. And the anime shows the cause effect of wars, and this connection can be shared with people who peaceful have a peaceful mindset. They dislike war, or it could also connect with people that have been through war, have been through tragedies and whatnot. One of these things is genocide. There was a huge genocide in the series, and it is a touchy subject, but some people might be able to relate to it due to tragedies that have happened in the real world. And historical background. The anime uses cultures and events from history, even though it is not set in the real world. This allows watchers to have an interest in various parts of the world, which could lead to some cultural exchange. One of these examples is how Amistris takes place well, it doesn't take place, but it is inspired German, by a German community. And it also takes reference from other European countries.
For fandom, there are many different aspects of fandom that is popular in the Full Metal Alchemist community. So, like fan art, a lot of talented fans across the globe express their love for the anime by showing their art skills through social media or other platforms. Global fandom, there's a very diverse fandom from people across various countries coming together to connect about the series. Cosplay, a very popular concept in the community where fans will use their creativity to make costumes of their favorite characters from the anime. Collectibles and merchandise. A lot of fans would collect figurines, posters, stuffed toys, or more that represent the Full Metal Alchemist franchise. Conventions. Fans around the world would attend anime conventions where they can meet people that have similar interests like them, voice actors, and the creator of Full Metal Alchemist. Cultural impact on music. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has been influential on music. The opening, again by Yui, is the artist's 13th single. This was Yui's returning single after a year-long hiatus starting in August 2008. The song was very popular after its release. It was her fourth single to reach the top of the single chart, and it also had the highest opening week sales out of all 2009 female artists. Mm, um, Additionally, again peaked in the #2 spot of Taiwan G Music J-pop in 2009. With its unique plot, complex characters, and enchanting opening, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is loved by many. Inspired by the 2001 through 2010 manga, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was created between 2009 and 2010. This is a story about family, tragedy, and perseverance. The anime follows the brothers Edward and Alphonse in their journey to become great alchemists and retrieve Alphonse's body. Ethics, space dilemmas, war, and historical context are prevalent throughout the series. This allows the anime to be understood and relevant from a global perspective. Additionally, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was very popular after its release, garnering a substantially large fandom. The opening, again by Yui, was extremely popular as well. The song reached the top of the Oricon Weekly Single Chart and the second spot in the Taiwan G Music J-pop. And these are